For the fourth and final race in the Krill Pet Arctic World Series, we move north to Alaska, where dog mushing is the official state sport. You're about to witness the world's most prestigious sled dog event, the Iditarod. We will meet the legends and those up and coming, let alone the world's most athletic dogs, all coming together in the Alaskan wilderness. This is the last great race on Earth. Northern people have used dogs to pull sleds for centuries, once a primary form of transportation. In 1925, the gold rush city of Nome was struck by diphtheria. The population suffered, children died. The only way to get the antitoxin serum to Nome was by dog team. Mushing captured headlines around the nation when 20 mushers and their dog teams relayed the life-saving serum to the children of Nome. Among these, the Norwegian-born Leonard Seppala and his dog Togo, and his friend Gunnar Kaysen with his best lead dog, Balto. They confronted the blizzard and ultimately saved the population. 50 years later, airplanes and snow machines diminished the sled dog's primary task of transportation. There was no longer a need for the sled dog. Recognizing this, Joe Reddington Sr. saw the need for saving the Alaskan Huskies. He founded the Iditarod Sled Dog Race, created to help preserve these dogs and a disappearing culture. The Serum Race to Nome is the inspiration for the Iditarod Trail. It honors the sled dog heroes like Balto and Togo. These historic trails continue to make new heroes, as the winning team of Iditarod has earned the title of Best Musher and Sled Dogs in the world. For Iditarod 2020, Alaska is once again faced with a challenging situation. What was not foreseen is that this year, the Alaskan wilderness will be facing another race where disease will be occupying the headlines. This is the last great race on Earth. Before the race sets off for real, the show start takes place in Anchorage. Here the fans get to meet and greet their favorite mushers and dogs when they're presented for the crowd. Thousands of people gather for a glimpse at the spectacle.
This is dog mushing to me, right? I've grown up following this race right here. I got my dad competing in this. It's just, I don't know, there's something about this. It's almost like Christmas, right? When you grow up and there's this thing every year and it's the big event and you're, not just you, but your whole family looks forward to it. That is the Iditarod for me, right? Not only is this the big event in Alaska, but it's the final of our Krill Pet Arctic World Series, so that adds another layer of excitement. For the fans, this is huge. This is the option or opportunity to interact with the mushers, and that's a great thing about mushing, is they are approachable. Here you can go down and mingle with the dogs and the mushers, and this is very important for the sport. The mushers recognize that, and they do take so much of their time to make themselves available to the fans and appreciate the people that make this great event happen.
The mushers have transported their dogs to Willow for the real start of the race. Many of them have come a long way to get here.
This type of trailer arrangement I really like, because it gives you the opportunity to work on the dogs, massage them, play with their feet, pet them, and you're out from the elements. Come on guys, you guys ready to rock and roll?
This weather may complicate things a little bit.
I'm told that it's going to last probably up to Squetna or so, and then we'll kind of settle in. So,
Pete Kaiser, the defending champion, leaving the chute.
No, I'd rather have this than what we had in 14, Glare Ice. Glare Ice with 16 dogs. That was fun.
Obviously, it's going to slow them down.
It's the same for everybody.
I mean, I think we're doing well. We made it this far. I feel if I get to the starting line, I win.
Give him credit. I mean, this is one of the toughest guys the sport has ever known, and he continues to chase his dream in his heart. So, but you got to keep an eye out. The fan favorite Ali Zirkle is coming up. True veteran Aaron Burmeister. Next is Mitch Seavey, a truly accomplished musher. And this is Jesse Royer, bib number 31. And the winner from 2018, Yor Olsen.
I talked to my good friend Billy Honey last night, and he said the last about 6 days in Ruby, they've only got 1 inch of snow. So my plan is to get to Ruby with the dog team and then start racing from there.
Ryan Reddington, winner of the Bear Grease Sled Dog Marathon in Minnesota earlier this mushing season. He's the grandson of the founding father of the Iditarod, Joe Reddington, Sr. The first stretch goes from Willow along the Yentna River before reaching the wondrous Finger Lake.
When they're traveling and you become stranded, you help somebody. You know, if you're on the highway or in a busy place, you might have 100 cars drive by before somebody stops to help you out. Next person that goes by, even if it's your worst competitor, is gonna stop and at least make sure, hey, are you all right? Are you good? Do you need help? It's just Dakota to the north.
Iditarod has it all. Mountain ranges, frozen rivers, dense forest, tundra, and miles of windswept coastlines. Brent Sass is not resting at a checkpoint.
You know, the trail's been interesting already, so I think we're in for a good race. They were real strong on this run, and we're going to give them a good rest here and then just continue on down the trail. Who knows what we have, what lies ahead.
Brent Sass, a 2-time champion of the 1,000-mile-long Yukon Quest. He won the race in February. He's a contender and could do really well in this Iditarod. The next part of the trail moves through the foothills of Alaska's greatest mountain range, called the Alaska Range. A premium will be set on sled driving and maneuvering. It's the site of legendary blizzards, but it's also home to some of the greatest views the mushers will have on this entire trail. Pete Kaiser, the defending champion, is the first into Rainy Pass.
This was really good the whole way. We kind of cut rest a little bit just to try to make sure we stayed on a good trail and didn't get caught behind 20 or 30 teams and in case the trail went to crap. So it just seems like the farther we go, the better it gets. So
Pete Kaiser, a 32-year-old who was born and raised in Bethel, Alaska. He's finished in the top 5 6 times and is the defending champion from 2019.
Morning. Welcome.
Up to Finger Lake, and Finger Lake to here was probably the nicest trail I've ever saw.
Lance Mackey is a 4-time Iditarod champion. He was diagnosed with cancer in 2001. He's now considered cancer-free. He received the Most Inspirational Musher Award last year for his passion for the sport. He then received free entry into this year's Iditarod.
It's just amazing to be up on the mountains coming in here. Yeah, this is why probably people doing Iditarod. It's beautiful.
The Viking musher, Thomas Werner. He's participated in Iditarod once before, becoming the Rookie of the Year in 2015. He's an experienced musher and the only one to win both the prestigious Finnmark race and the Femund race in Norway in the very same year.
Trail's getting better, so yeah, I think the dogs are doing good. They're eating good.
Jessie Royer has been a dog musher for 25 years. She's been competing in the Iditarod 17 times with several top 5 positions. Will this be her year?
We're still a long ways to go.
It's day 2 of the race. The snow has settled, and it's more easygoing for the mushers. The Alaska Range has its chest out in this area. The journey continues from Rainy Pass to Nikolai, the first Native American community on this trail.
It's a pretty small location with a population of just 125 people, but they definitely give us a warm welcome as we reach this checkpoint.
The first into Nikolai is Richie D, followed by Jesse Royer.
Get them to eat as much as I can. Right now they're eating tripe and lamb fat really, really well. So they're pretty much cleaning me out of all the tripe and lamb fat and lamb hearts. So that's good.
Yeah. It was cold out. It was 35 below out there. And I was going to stop for 45 minutes and then come here. And it would have put me here 3 hours earlier.
This is Thomas Warner from Norway. He hasn't taken that much rest, but he's broken up the runs in a nice way. So I think he's in a really good position. Not far enough behind the leaders for it to be at all concerning at this point. An hour and 13 minutes, that's nothing at this point in a 1,000-mile race.
Most of it's on the Kuskokwim River, one of the largest rivers in the state. Jesse Royer is first in.
I've never been first to an Iditarod checkpoint before. So coming in McGrath, I was like, this is pretty cool.
All right, Matt, here we go. All
right, thank you.
Thank you.
We got 2/3 left to go, and you know how interesting the coast can get, so.
The mushers who are currently in the lead pack are just passing through this checkpoint because they're planning on taking a longer rest very soon. A strategic move that has to be taken wisely.
Mushers are positioning themselves to take their mandatory 24-hour rest, a crucial part of the race here. A very critical strategic point in the race.
Jesse Royer holds on to the lead, and she is the first to arrive in Tecate and declares her 24 hours of mandatory rest.
Hot in a checkpoint award.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
They get licorice, papaya, and probiotics. That's the 3 pills that every dog gets. I know Yor was like, that's a lot of pills. It's like, yes, it is. There's obviously some viruses or stuff going around, but I've only gotten, 3 dogs earlier that were a little sick, but like 1 meal, and that was it.
But it's important that all of them eat at the same time, because this is where the mushers can get some sleep as well. You're likely to take all the harnesses off the dogs and kind of let them not have that harness on for a little bit. It's a comfort thing. We can also fix anything on our sled, mend our own equipment and gear.
You're tired?
No, I'm feeling pretty good, actually.
You're Lysif Olsson, a great dog man who's never finished lower than 7th place in his 7 attempts. In 2018, he became the champion and the second Norwegian after Robert Sorley to win the Iditarod.
I got, leaving Nikolai, I think I got passed by 3 teams coming over. Travis and Lance and Thomas. Thomas looks strong.
I just try to keep the, I don't know the English word, flytsonen, we call it in Norway, so it's kind of floating, and it doesn't, not too much power, not too slow,
More importantly, this is where we finally will see this manifestation of, do they go here, do they go over, do they go cripple? And then you can really figure those times and find out who's really ahead as far as how they come off of that. Remember the time differential at the start, and this is where that all gets adjusted. And I hear it constantly. Mushers going, I don't know, I think the dogs really need rest. And what I'm seeing is the mushers really tired and things aren't going quite right, and the dogs are banging on their tug lines sometimes.
The first musher out of the Tecate checkpoint after having completed her 24-hour mandatory layover was Jesse Royer, and she was also the first musher to arrive there.
It's a new day out in the Alaskan wilderness. The dogs are enjoying some rest, gaining energy for the next half of the race.
I gave the dogs a really good meal and some snacks after we got here last night, and they ate very well.
Aaron Burmeister was born and raised in Nome. He's actually heading home for this race. He's participated 18 times in the Iditarod, and his top finish is 3rd.
and went and took a nap and got a good straight through 8.5 hours of sleep. So that was incredible.
The mushers get time to maintain their gear.
But it's been beautiful. The trail's been incredible. This is more snow than I've ever experienced on Iditarod. So that's pretty awesome.
Not everyone has chosen to take their mandatory 24-hour rest in Takatna. Some move further on.
Well, my plan is to go on the cripple, but before I make the final decision, I'm just going to feed the dogs and make sure they eat really well here. And then I feel like they'll have the fuel in the tank to push on the cripple. But I'd like to get the cripple. Cripple is getting close to the halfway point. These dogs just ran the quest, and they're pretty dialed in on taking their big rest at the midway point of the race.
Lance Mackey has a special errand for this race and has brought an extra passenger along.
Mom passed away, and the only thing she's never done was race the Iditarod. She's done everything from help in the very beginning when she was with my dad, to flying dogs, to food drops, to everything except racing. So we're going to take a little bit of her all the way to Nome. Cool to have her on my race. I asked her if she's having a good time, and if she was aware of where I was at. And as soon as I said that, my leader started barking going down the trail. So I know she's here. Mama, I love you. I miss you terribly. And you are an Ophir and middle of the 2020 Iditarod. There you be, Mama. Rest well. I still have a lot to learn from her. As I get older, I'm finding that I'm becoming more sensitive in some departments, and which means I've been crying in front of people. Things like that I have to just kind of tell her once in a while, Mom, as badass as you were, you know, it's okay to cry.
Allie Zirkle is usually a prominent competitor in the lead pack, but this year she's losing faith in victory.
It was over for me in Nikolai, and you have to either be all right with that or not, and I'm all right with it. So, no, the dog team, my dogs are slow with a capital S. Anyway, so that's the deal. So I will not be winning or even getting close to winning this year, but I got a whole bunch of adventurous dog mushing miles ahead of me. So that's Allie's deal. Yay!
While it's slow going for Allie, it's going fast for others.
Brent ended up doing this whole run all the way from Ophir to Cripple non-stop. He got there after about 11 hours and 19 minutes of traveling down the trail. He was first musher to arrive and was able to claim the first to the halfway award, $3,000 in gold nuggets. However, when the other teams that have already taken their 24-hour break from earlier into Takatna, when they arrive in the same checkpoint, Brent Sass will still have several hours left to fill his mandatory 24-hour. So this is the making of a great race, where you have different strategies playing out. You've got teams out in the lead with very fast teams, honestly. You've got other teams that have gone deeper before taking their 24. And all these strategies are going to come to a head as they close in on the Bering Sea coast and then ultimately into Nome.
For the dogs and the musher, there is no day or no time. Their journey is long, and they're traveling no matter if it's in the middle of a cold night. The Alaskan Husky likes it cold. It's only them, human and dogs alone, in this untouched, wild landscape. Don't get fooled by the current standings.
She had camped about 47 miles after taking her 24-hour break.
So grab and go, huh, Jess?
Maybe go good, maybe go bad.
They're only halfway to the finish line in Nome. That's why you never know the outcome in a dog race.
All of these mushers have made up significant time on the mushers who chose to come out to the Cripple checkpoint prior to taking the mandatory 24. Any mushers leaving their 24-hour break into Katna, and some other mushers arriving in the checkpoint of Cripple to begin their 24-hour break.
The dogs are feeding off of your energy all the time, and when you get tired and maybe aren't functioning 100%, I feel like the dogs definitely kind of feed off of that. And so I make an extra effort when I'm tired to try and be positive and more upbeat. You know, you can't fake it, but you can definitely be upbeat and not be downer.
Yeah, we've been adapting well and taking one run at a time and being conservative, and still got 12 dogs, and I'm pretty happy with them.
Probably the toughest part is dealing with sleep deprivation, but we do a lot of training that's race simulated, and as well as having done this for years, so it becomes a matter of like muscle memory and just routine, and I guess kind of mind over matter. You just have to keep going.
Mitch Seavey, a 3-time champion of the Iditarod. His dad ran the first in 1973. His son is the 4-time champion, Dallas Seavey. He has finished in the top 10 17 times and a consistent top 5 finisher. He's certainly someone to look out for.
On my way to Katna, I fell asleep standing up on the sled and hit a tree, and that really jarred me.
Dogs ate awesome. They're super ready to go. I know it doesn't look like it, but my dogs don't bark and bang. They save their energy for the trail.
Who's that? All right, boys, let's do it. Thanks for everything.
No one knows the dogs better than the musher, who literally has spent years together with these 4-legged athletes, from birth to the trail. From the halfway point of Cripple, they move to the first checkpoint at the Yukon River. It's called Ruby. The race to the Yukon River is on. Well-defined trails and many old logging roads are traveled in this stretch. The 24 hours of rest is over. It's a better sense now of who's truly in the lead.
I see a couple teams behind me that have probably more speed, so staying ahead of them, like, I'm a realist too, it's probably not too likely as far as that goes, but we're only halfway, and you never know about weather. I'm a fighter, I'm a scrapper. We're not going to give up the fight. We'll just keep grinding it out all the way to Nome. We'll see how we'll be in the top somewhere. I don't know where.
I feel like the teams are pretty evenly matched up. I think that people just gotta not worry about the other teams yet and keep on theirs, because
Staying or going, Brett?
I'm gonna stay. It's a long race still. There's another 600 miles, or a little bit less, I guess, now.
We were doing good, and me and Richie and Ryan were all just traveling together, and nobody really left each other in the dust, so...
It's hard to break this down because all of these mushers stopped along the way, so you have to subtract out the time that they were camped on the trail. But once we subtract out that stop time, Thomas did the run in 9 hours and 17 minutes. Both Jesse Royer and Aaron Burmeister took 10 hours and 5 minutes.
Thomas's team looks amazing on the trail. He's kind of the team I have picked to probably win the race.
When you have a team that always want to go on, it's so easy to make a choice that, we're going to take 3 hours and then go. But then you suddenly don't have a team that do that anymore.
And they did great. I mean, they no fatigue from it or anything else. They worked their butts off, came in happy, or eating and drinking. But I felt putting that rest in the bank here, where they can lay and sleep through the heat of the day, is going to be a lot more beneficial for them than it would be resting in Galena.
Well, I decided to take my 8-hour here.
Originally, I had planned in my mind to go to Galena.
With the checkpoint being a little different this year, maybe I'll decide to stop in Galena.
So you have to always be on that balance, what you can do and what you think the dog's can do.
The first to the Yukon River gets money and a meal.
Come on down. They're starting to do that meal, so I can't eat all that food and have these guys come and going and watching me eat that. No way. Like, get over here. Come eat food too. Like, it's here. So come on down. I don't know how much food they have, but We're all winners because we made it here.
Every dog team here has a shot right now, so
The teams are forging their way down the relentless, windswept Yukon River. The journey on the Yukon is tough. The dogs can get bored here because of the massive width of this area. When the wind blows here, it can create a whiteout and very slow-going miles. Jesse Royer is first into this checkpoint as well. Brett Sass is in second. Yor, Richie, and Ryan has made up a wolf pack, and they're all traveling together.
The trail coming in was like the snow was just, the sled wasn't sliding. You know, like you don't know any of that stuff until you get out there. Iditarod Trail didn't follow the old snowmobile trail, so we just ended up in like a foot of fluff. I have to take care of my team and run my team to know as fast as I can. What everybody else does around me is of little concern.
Well, we got really wet snow dumping, and I left my fog tog at home. I had the fog togs in my sled the last 4 years, so I ended up making poncho out of a trash bag and wish I had a hood, so I got another trash bag.
The dog teams are relaxing, unaware of the bad news that's coming.
Now, we will head over to another race, the Finnmark race, and we will get an update there from Nina. What is happening with the Finnmark race?
I'm standing here in checkpoint Levajuk 2, where there's only around 200-300 kilometers left of the race. And the Norwegian government has now decided to stop the entire race.
The situation is that the whole kind of European community and I guess more or less most part of the world are kind of having their measures taken now.
How is the coronavirus affecting Iditarod?
The Nulato checkpoint is closed down for the measures. They need to stay together with the veterinarians and the race officials down at the river, and they are not allowed to enter the village.
If you think about it, geographically speaking, these villages that are in very remote parts of Alaska are some of the few places that can truly and effectively quarantine an entire town.
Man, the world could have gone to war and we'd never know it. We're just out here blissfully running our 14 dogs and don't have a clue what the rest of the world is doing. Just these 14 dogs, that is my world.
Yeah, and it's going to be a different race this year. Really different, with all the checkpoints shutting down. And
Now, I can't say that anymore because now the world has encroached on our little race and has completely changed our race. Losing a checkpoint is kind of huge, especially that one.
But mushers are tough, hardy people. They don't mind sleeping on the trail. So I think everybody understands and they just appreciate that things are still happening, especially as we've seen other events, most notably the race in Norway just recently stop partway through. The mushers here are just grateful to be able to continue down the trail.
Moving into Keltag, Jessie continues her strike to be first into checkpoints. Thomas is lurking in third with an animated dog team. Kaiser is in fourth, and sleep deprivation is starting to take its toll.
Be good to get more than a 45-minute nap here, and hopefully we feel better when we take off, so that's the plan.
Aaron Burmeister is fifth. It's Varner's dog team that draws the attention to the other mushers. These dogs have run 700 miles so far.
The team is mentally really high up. They've been high the whole race, actually. Of course, it's more slow going now, but my dogs are pretty used to going slow. I've been training with 120 pounds of concrete and then all the gear in the sled.
They just look like a freight train. They just look like powerhouses.
I feel that I will just continue what I'm doing, and that's driving the team and looking at them and keeping my eye on the mental part of it. I only look for the mental on the dogs.
The physical I'm not worried about, but when you see them going down mentally, that's when you have to rest. But they haven't been down yet, so I've been lucky.
Thomas is the first to the Bering Sea coast, putting him in a clear lead.
This is like the Super Bowl, the World Series, that kind of all put to one, you know.
You know, it also maybe has an element of risk to it. And that's really what I would be focusing on at this point in the race if I were leading, is risk management. I think he gave up a little bit of speed on this run, but he gained a massive lead on the rest of the race. So
in penalty, you get a Gold Coast Award and $2,000 in nuggets.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to stay in second, or even somehow weirdly catch first. But you never know. I'm really sorry to hear about beating Richie.
Richie Deal suddenly is falling behind.
Really don't know. My dogs they left her totally fine, and then all of a sudden all my boys were interested in one female, and it just put the slammer on.
It's the dogs that are in command, after all.
all these other mushers are taking 3 hours and 50 minutes, 3:40. Maybe they stay for up to 4 hours in a checkpoint. Thomas is probably going to give back a little bit of that lead, and he's going to give his dogs 4.5 to 5 hours at each spot. He and Jesse will be duking it out for quite a while here, as they have a very similar ranked teams. But I think both of them are going to have to be a little bit concerned about teams that have more speed coming up behind them.
It's my strategy is going to be doing what's best for this team, and through a run-rest schedule, through the temperatures, the heat of the day that we're dealing with, our only real weakness is warm temperatures, and coming in here at 35 above, it was hot.
I have several veterinarians here going through the dogs and checking them out. We're listening to their hearts and lungs, we're checking their body weight, their hydration, their gum color.
Snow and trail is just super soft, so it's kind of also just makes it super slow. And
I'm not going to ever ask the dogs for much when it's hot out. I just let them walk through it and keep traveling. We're not going to have any speed.
So we stopped more.
I'll try to do as much running as I can in the dark at night.
Everything is, yeah, I mean, it's warm, but they're trucking right along.
You know, when it's so soft now, the booties go off. You have to stop and change booties.
So the warmer weather, sometimes they don't eat as well, but looks like his dogs are eating pretty well, so that's good.
I feel like it's a risk when you think about maybe staying there for 5 or even more hours to rest the dogs. You're giving up time. That is a risk, but it's a risk that oftentimes pays dividends. So
I used to get excited all the time, but this is number 19 for me, so I've kind of been through that and focused on the dogs and what's best for them.
Okay, you guys ready? Straight up.
It leaves a big question mark when you blow through Unaclete at this point in the race. People are actually starting to race and watch what other people are doing a lot more.
So I'm kind of looking forward to going over the hills in the dark. It's a little cooler.
Rocketing from 15th place, a veteran appears in the lead pack. And that's 3-time champion Mitch Seavey.
is that speed going to take something out of the dog team? First of all, he is my dad, so I think maybe I know too much about him and can analyze it too deeply here, but this guy knows how to run a fast dog team. He smashed the record in 2017. The runs he was doing out there and the speeds that he was sustaining was unprecedented in a lot of ways. Lance is back, and he's back in a pretty awesome fashion here. Nice looking team. They're just trotting right on in here like there's nothing to do.
As Lance Mackey arrives, Ryan Reddington leaves.
I mean, Ryan's got a very nice dog team. This is a guy that we could see racing for first and second here for the next many years.
With Richie out, they're one short in the Wolfpack. But Yor Olsson is still in close pursuit. The hardest legs of the trail are yet to come.
You only have to be in the lead of this race for 10 steps, as long as those 10 steps are across the finish line.
Try and stick to my plan, and I do a better job of sticking to my plan sitting out here. Thomas is up there. I think he's trying to be the ghost now. I think he's trying to get ahead and not let anyone see him, which if I had the dog team he has, I'd probably be trying to do the same thing. And then there's 10 people back here that are, including myself, that are in the battle for all the spots. So it's anybody's race right now. It's going to be a fun go on the coast.
Thomas, as I saw over there, and coming into the village, seems to be having a little bit of distraction issues with his leaders.
Yeah.
Jesse, Thomas just pulled out as you pulled in.
Yeah, well, I've been running this race since 2001, so almost 20 years, and I've never heard of a tailwind. I mean, I was sweating coming across, and you'd stop and there'd be a little bit of a breeze. But yeah, when you were going, it was the same speed as we were.
Well, if I lit a cigarette, the smoke would just travel with me. I mean, it was just that perfect when we were doing 5-6 miles an hour.
So it just felt like dead calm out there.
Everything else I feel pretty prepared for, but man, the heat.
Thomas is pulling out of here about when you guys all pulled in.
He's pretty well out of reach. There's nothing we can do about that. And the big temptation to react is actually counterproductive. So
I don't know that we can catch them, but Brent and I are kind of hustling for 5th and 6th right now.
I don't wish him any ill, but it would take something bad. He'd have to break down and have to camp extra or stay super long in Elam, or something would have to happen to him. And he didn't get there by not knowing what he's doing.
I'm of the motto of, never give up. I mean, that's why, I wear this hat, because it's this is my Iditarod hat, never give up, and I'm certainly not giving up, because you never know when you might come around the corner and end up with a surprise. Happens all the time.
I'm certainly not giving up.
It's so easy to look at this race as a race where the goal is to catch up with the competitor. And that's not really how this race works. The goal is to get to the finish line as quickly as possible. So for Mitch or anybody else to do some foolish move for their team just to catch up with Thomas will probably make them reach the finish line slower, and instead of finishing in 2nd or 3rd or 4th, they'll finish in 10th or not at all. Yes, Thomas appears to be out of reach unless Thomas makes a mistake. That's what it means to be in the driver's seat.
Now it's Thomas's race to lose. He decides not to rest for long in Elam and has a significant lead in the White Mountain.
Perfect.
Two and one. I'm officially done with booties for this season. Yes!
It's the final day before Iditarod 2020 shall crown its champion. Thomas remains a ghost, leaving as others arrive.
We're here.
You're here.
I don't think I could have got another one, but I'd like to run the table.
It was a little better than I was expecting, but still slow and painful at times. So I was actually pretty worried about Brent, and he could catch that 40 minutes somewhere, a little bit here, and then the rest of it on the way to Nome.
It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed every bit of it. It's been really fun. Good competition. Yeah, super happy to be here where we're at, and looks like we got one more exciting run ahead of us here.
This weather is through a curveball, so it's anybody's race. Anything can happen.
You did a really good job, and one more run, and we'll put this one in the book.
It's been 9 unforgettable days in the beautiful yet unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. And at this moment, Thomas Werner and his 10 enduring dogs, among them the lead dogs, Bark and K2, they seem unbeatable in this final run to the finish line.
They're looking good. Now it's coming to an end, and it's kind of like this is such a special time, and you really appreciate the last 9.5 days on this race. And when you come near the finish, you realize how special that is, how lucky we are to get to do what we're doing out here.
What allows a team to go out on this trail and peak the way that they do, where they almost seem untouchable? They're unflappable. There's nothing that's going to slow them down. There's no elements from the trail. There's no competition. They are out there to do a job, and they make it. This is what we will remember from Thomas's team, is that they just seemed untouchable in the end. Ladies and gentlemen, allow your champion of the Iditarod to hear some noise tonight. This is a big deal in Nome.
Thomas, we want to welcome you to the Nome in 9 days, 10 hours, 37 minutes, and 47 seconds. Welcome to Nome. Congratulations. Thank you.
A dream come true.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Who let you in, Thomas?
K2 and Bark, the one I've been using the whole race. They are, they are good. They are steady and going.
And there are the great lead dogs for Thomas Werner.
It's very special. It's I'm kind of, it's empty, kind of. Yeah, it's like somebody pushed the balloon, taking out the air. So it's amazing. I feel kind of speechless.
And I know the country of Norway is standing a little taller tonight. How about a message for them?
Yeah, well, they saw the race, and they should come here and do the race there also. It's an amazing race. It's nature, go through all the checkpoints, trails. This is the greatest race you can do. So you're in Norway. Just start training.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Werner, the champion of the 48th annual Iditarod Sled Dog Race. And in second place, Mitch Seavey. 6 hours behind Werner, Seavey rocketed from 15th place to second place. This is the 7th time that he's finished in the top 3 in the last 8 years.
Okay, Mitch. Congratulations, Mitch. Welcome to Nome. Thank you.
90 minutes after Seavey, Jesse Royer is third.
Coming in 9 days, 17 hours, 47 minutes, and 16 seconds. Welcome to Nome and congratulations.
Oh, just never give up. You never know what's gonna, how it's gonna finish or what's around the next corner, So you just keep grinding it out and, working at it and never give up.
The top 3 mushers just made history in the Iditarod 2020, and we can write a new name on the list of Iditarod champions, and that is Thomas Werner. Just as the Alaskan nature remains relentless, so does the Iditarod.